is an extreme amount of overcommitment and overscheduling. More specifically, what I'm seeing is a lot of grandiosity, thinking you should be able to perform at a superhuman level, and overgiving. You seem to be the go-to person at home, at sidewalk, at the co-op, now doing 2 jobs, and probably elsewhere. And beyond simply being busy, you are juggling many roles that each demand a lot of commitment and presence. My parents were divorced when I was 11. My brother was 2. I started having weight problems around this time. My parents did the best they could with this, however. I had plenty of therapy, and my dad moved to a house 5 minutes away so that things would be easy on the children. I was in middle school, and I had the autonomy to move from house to house, sleeping, spending time where I wanted/needed to, preferred it that way, and felt that I had had enough of a 2-parent experience and a full knowledge of how my parents did not get along to know that I would rather have them divorced. There was a running joke in my family that I should not become an artist. I used to joke that I would, and my mom would give me an "oh no, not an artist, you'll be unhappy like me and your father were" comment. This actually hurt me over the years, even though when I started pursuing the music, my parents were supportive at every stage of my development. I had felt pushed away from my drawing and painting, and when I started really making music in college, the one way I punished my mom was not sharing it with her. I let this go eventually, because not only am I comfortable with how I feel about my art/success now, but I realize that my music is important to my mom. She has insomnia and manic depressive. My music calms her and helps her sleep, and she is incredibly discerning. She gets my songs as much as any of my true fan friends. My dad does as well. I am guessing that there was some traumatic rejection during the period where you decided not to pursue doing music for money. You did mention having a strong negative response to your girlfriend saying, "I want my music to work for me." But why so strong? And how did you interpret that statement? It can be interpreted in different ways. But you may have gone right for the most incriminating interpretation. At the same time, I heard a consistent negation of you as a person and your needs. Your narrative was mostly about your history and commitments, but not your needs. The instruction was, quote, "situations, goals, and challenges," unquote. And I think that while you mentioned some problems, like health and clutter, you didn't mention the lack of music as a major problem, even though music is, quote, "what keeps me sane," unquote. You also totally deleted your own needs from your mission statement. merit further analysis. And I'm guessing there's more worth examining in that pivotal era in your life. It wasn't just rejection, but positive influence by people around me. Noted. I maybe have been reaching in terms of how important the breakup with the fiancé is, though it is important. I was engaged before I left NYC to teach in Japan from 2000 to 2001. Well, she left NYC to do activism in Mexico. The conversation about pursuing the music was a casual one made before our travels, and when we split halfway through our overseas stints, I began writing and recording even more. I'd been hosting open mic potlucks in my apartment for teachers and Japanese locals, and the validation for performing at those made me to decide to return to NYC and get a bartending license, form a band, and pursue music, and people had been encouraging me to do. By 2003, I had met Kat, and also that year been introduced to a profound influence on me, a musician and writer named Tris McCall. He's probably one of the most intelligent, free-thinking people I know. He's a writer first and foremost, freelance, plays, music journalism, essays, novels on art, but he also has written 4 amazing albums that I found incredibly inspiring. He never pursued promoting the records outside of his local circles, but they were incredible achievements and artistic statements equal to those by any career musician. I was moved by his thoughts on art and commerce. Around this time, I was also pointed in the direction of a novel by William Gaddis called J.R., which had a profound influence on me. I was also inspired by McCall's own activism in Jersey to fight gentrification and the forced exodus of resident artists, and I started a newsletter in my neighborhood, Inwood, for musicians in that community, trying to strengthen the relationships between the artists who live there. It was at this point, after experiencing all this, that the band breakup happened. My bass player's girlfriend made her statement, and I concluded that the standard route, press kits, photo shoots, song licensing, pitching to commercials, was definitely not the route I wanted to take. My music took a turn towards the weird and got a lot more interesting to me and others. I liked the work I was doing with my nonprofit job at the time, but resented being forced to work 40 hours a week when I could clearly do what I was paid to do in 25 hours. I would come in late at times, busy recording at home after breakfast. I animated a music video at my desk one spring, and I briefly started a site for friends of mine called On Company Time, where I would post creative writing assignment at 9 a.m. on a business day that was due by 5 p.m., and my friends would need to complete while they were on the job somewhere else. I've slowly developed the theory that what works best for me, based on my childhood experiences, my adult experiences and childhood ones, is the freedom to create my art without the expectations or compromise of earning money from it. It's a serious, passionate hobby that I provoke well enough to move and inspire the immediate community of family, friends, and artists that I operate within. It's good you're aware of this potential problem. That's the only reason you wouldn't retain one of the jobs at Sidewalk. I would take the job and use the opportunity to practice defending your time boundaries. But, and this is a big but, it is only likely to work if the others at Sidewalk are supportive of your efforts. If they are going to undermine them, if they want you to overgive or context of overall disempowerment and ineffectiveness. Trying to do so, even in the unlikely event you succeed, will likely cost you excess time and energy. Also, you explicitly mentioned wanting to be a, quote, fine-tuned multitasking machine, unquote, or solvable like a, quote-unquote, puzzle. These are extreme forms of grandiosity and actually literal inhumanity to yourself. They're also an example of the delusional, magical thinking that underlies perfectionism. There is no point wishing you were a robot since you're not, and acting as if that goal is possible is not a feasible solution. As a specific example, saying that all you need is an extra 6 hours when you're already exhausted and are procrastinating with some of the time you do already have is not a realistic strategy. Also, your statement, everything works well but me, reflects this negation. The interesting question is where this behavior comes from. Here are some hypotheses. You're a parent of 2 young kids, so you're already super busy just from that. Add to this, trying to do well by family and community, you're even busier. So that's the baseline. It'd be hard and stressful to get all this done even without perfectionism and grandiosity. Were you programmed in childhood to ignore your own needs? You generally spoke positively of your childhood, but sometimes this behavior arises when, due to family stress, a kid gets the message that his concerns and needs aren't important or somehow a threat or inconvenience to family operations. The last thing that had a profound influence on me was hearing an artist play at the sidewalk. He had been booked a few years ago because he promised to pack the room. He did. The sound people would comment that he was terrible whenever I rebooked him, which I did because of the business. He always played my night off, Friday, until one time when I had to work it. When I finally got a chance to do sound for him and listen to a whole set, I realized that while his musical compositions and voice weren't great, His subject matter was actually very unique and interesting. He was a school teacher who wrote about his students and the things they went through. And the packed room was always his co-workers. His songs were an important release for him, and they meant a lot to his peers. I realized that someone like this had just as much of a right to get on stage as any career artist, to be treated with respect and given a chance to do what he needed to do in order to go back in on Monday and teach. This was an important epiphany for me. I've also never turned down anyone, regardless of how I feel about their music, if they live in the neighborhood. I feel even the blandest musician should be welcome at their neighborhood venue. You are very persuasive on this, and I'm certainly willing to go with this. Let's be absolutely sure, though, that the theory is not based on fear or avoidance. Also, the music world has changed in some ways for the better since you made your initial decision with social media, etc. There are more opportunities for musicians. Marketing and sales are still a grind, but much better than they were. I wrote about this in my newsletter this week. I think it is useful for both of us to understand this history. In some families, perhaps not yours, kids are explicitly told to shut up and not make waves, etc. But that doesn't have to be the case. If you were a sensitive kid, saw your folks under strain, you might have independently concluded that your needs were best kept under wraps. Or you could have gotten the message in subtle ways. Perhaps that reinforced your own tendencies. False pride. There seems to be an undercurrent of, look how impressive I am for handling all this stuff. Maybe also, look how noble I am for being so sacrificing. This wasn't really anything you said so much as your attitude. Perfectionist characteristics like these can cause a great ambivalence that prevents you from doing your work. Action plan. More self-observation and self-analysis. Mission work. Hey, you can do this via coaching or journalism, discussions with sympathetic and savvy others, especially in the realm of your relationship to your music and to money, and about the difficulty in recognizing and meeting your own needs. 2. Time management. Please refer to Chapter 4 of my book for techniques. The first step will be to come up with a reasonable weekly time budget that provides generous time for your music, quote-unquote family time, and other needs. Also to set aside some vacation time each year. This will almost certainly require consultation with Kat and the kids, as well as others. I recommend you use the collaborative problem-solving technique described in Chapter 4.11, which I adapted from the excellent parenting book, How to Talk So Kids Listen by Faber and Maslish. Remember, the goal is to jettison as much as possible from your schedule so as to devote as much time as possible to your priorities. I do hope you wind up not just with a few hours a week or more to do your music, but a calmer, happier, healthier existence in general. Again, acknowledging that all parents with young kids are very busy. B, please also see the attached handout on behaviors of good time managers. You can see which of the behaviors listed on the handout you're using and not using, and gradually start adopting the new ones. The handout features NEO, because once you start doing more time management, it's like waking up from the Matrix. C, it seemed obvious that you would need to give up the sidewalk job sooner rather than later, as you reported it as a major commitment that was providing the least value in your life. I'm so happy you moved on this so quickly, and it really does speak a lot for your commitment to this whole process. It portends well for the future. End of report. Thank you for reading.
Thank you, JJ.
Light the fire and set the stones in motion. and rest to watch a week of work begin to spark beneath the dirt and wander through the depths of darkness to begin again on Monday. On Monday, a child may choose to end its life. Oh Gaia, it's all you can do. Gaia, it's time to find somewhere new, to build the water walls once more, to fight the squalls with certain trust, to pluck the fruit and tap the sap and burn our bodies down to dust on Monday. On Monday, behind the stars, beyond the stretch of time, he rolls his sleeves back with tears beneath his eyes. 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. I raised baby daisies for you in my window garden. May flew away as they grew by my window garden. I don't know what I was thinking when I dropped my electric guitar. All of these names on my arms would mean nothing. I grew these tomatoes for you in my window garden. Come close, I'll feed one to you by my window garden. I don't know what I was thinking when I dove from the front of the stage. All of these names on my legs would mean nothing without you. All summer long, you and I. All summer long. I don't want to wait till the fall by my window garden. If you'll walk the aisle, I can crawl from my window garden. I don't know what I was thinking, 'cause the crowd had begun to depart. This machine that is beating my heart would mean nothing without you. Summer long, you and I. All summer long. One more, two more, oh, sweet. That's really good. So I won't be able to hit the falsettos in this. We'll try it anyway. This is the world at sunset. All of the flowers are closing back to buds. We're between the birds of the time clock. Bugs and their branches grow silent, one by one. This is the world I give you. This is the world I give you. Watching the colors drip down, watching the clouds on the hillside pick out the shapes of the lion, tiger, and bear, prancing around like the pictures, drift out of form in the icy evening air. This is the world I give you. This is the world I give you. Watching the colors drip down. This is the world at sunset. You and your sister beside you on the sea. Here is a kiss on your forehead. I'm diving over and soon you'll follow me. This is the world I leave you. This is the world I leave you. Watching the colors drip down. Watching the colors drip down. Watching the colors drip down. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Birdies and cars, each and every morning. Birdies and cars, everybody's snoring. Sleepy baby's up so soon. Say goodnight to Mr. Moon. Birdies and cars, it's a brand new day. Birdies and cars, singing in the treetops. Birdies and cars, wake up sleepy street shops. Here's your coffee, here's your dime. Better get to work on time. Birdies and cars, it's a brand new day. Birdies and speaking. Hurry, hurry, gotta go. Move it, move it, don't be slow. Birdies and cars, it's a brand new day. Birdies and cars, fill the empty spaces. Birdies and cars, give us smiling faces. When you're sad or when you're blue, every morning all is new. Birdies and cars, it's a brand new day. Birdies and cars, it's a brand new day. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll do one more.
And that means I'm going to go on with the tip jar, listen to Yossarian Feedback. How about a round of applause for this set?
Woo!
And special guest star, $30 in the tip jar, suggested donation $5, but you give whatever you want.
I'm an Arctic island, you a mountain tree. Magic bird will cross the ocean, bring a kiss from me. I'm a house on hillside, you a distant moon. So through space the bird will bring you pictures from my room. Magic bird, take me with you, magic bird. Magic bird, take me with you, magic bird. I will beat my brushes, yellow, red, and blue. Magic bird will carry colors I will mix for you. I will mix you purple, I will mix you green. She will bring them for your painting, I won't ask to see. Magic bird, take me with you, magic bird. Magic bird, take me with you, magic bird. I will eat my flowers, I will eat my leaves. Spin a silk cocoon, I'll sleep and dream of you and me. Spring will change to summer,